My 25F boyfriend, 27M, called me selfish for wanting him to leave his boys' night early due to me grieving. Where do I go from here? I have tried posting this too many times, lol. I've never used Reddit before, only seen videos, but I'm hoping to get some much-needed insight. I have been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 4 years. Our relationship has been very good for the most part, some fights here and there but nothing worth noting, until a week ago. I got a call from my brother telling me my mom had passed away last Friday. Growing up, I was never super close with her, we were usually fighting, but over the last 5 years our relationship improved tremendously. We'd text throughout the week, and every Sunday I would go on 4 to 5 hour drives with her on speaker to keep me company, talking about anything and everything under the sun. She became my best friend. For context, my boyfriend knows how close we had gotten and had even joined me for some of those drives. Now is the problem. My boyfriend has a fairly close group of friends that he keeps up with, usually gaming with them throughout the week. Then, once a month, him and his friends will hang out and drink. He let me know a few days prior that he would be hanging out with them that Friday. When I got the news, I immediately called him, breaking down and telling him I didn't know what to do and that I knew I needed to be with him tonight. He went from consoling me to saying, "I let you know a few days ago I have plans with my friends, I only get to see them once a month." I told him I understood, but I really needed him and I'm sure they would reschedule, to which he said they definitely wouldn't be able to as they all have their own responsibilities. After some more time going back and forth, I gave in and said I would be okay with him going as long as he left early. Since he leaves at 7 p.m., I said I would like for him to come back by 11. He agreed. I spent the night going through texts with her, photos, everything I could. I tried to distract myself with other things but nothing worked. Eventually, 10 p.m. rolls around and I text my boyfriend, "Will you be leaving in an hour?" To which he responds, "You told me 12, so I'll be leaving then." I told him I said 11 and I was standing by that. He didn't respond after, and came home at 12. I asked him why he didn't reply and why he didn't just come back an hour earlier. He immediately got upset with me, telling me I was being selfish for ruining his night with his friends, him spending an extra hour there means nothing since he still left early, and I would be fine since I didn't spend my childhood with her anyways. I told him I didn't even want him to go out with them that day to begin with since I had just gotten the news but I agreed to it under that specific condition, and so had he. He could also just catch up with his friends when they gamed during the week. The fight ended with him telling me I was again being selfish as he doesn't get to see them in person often, and that I shouldn't expect him to drop everything for me. We've been fairly cold to each other since, which has left me overthinking and reevaluating our relationship. On one hand, I am extremely heartbroken he wasn't there for me and know that's not something I want for my future, but on the other hand, his words have definitely gotten to me and I feel bad for separating him from his friends. I also know it would break me more to lose someone else so close to me. Where do I go from here? Update. I want to start off by saying thank you so much to everyone that commented. I spent a good while reading every single comment, so for everyone that gave me advice and shared their stories, please know I am extremely grateful for you. I also really appreciate everyone that gave me their condolences. Now for the update. A little while after posting, one of my boyfriend's friends reached out to me. He asked me if I had posted it, because if I did, he had something to tell me. I said yes, and he told me before my boyfriend left their boys' night, he had started complaining about me to everyone there, telling them I was being a psycho and forcing him to leave. He completely lied about my relationship with my mom and told them I wasn't close with her at all, rarely talked to her, anytime I mentioned her I did nothing but shit-talk her, and that I was using her death as a way to control him. I also learned throughout our entire relationship he'd tell his friends about every fight of ours and again would completely lie about everything that happened in them. For context, I am not close with any of his friends and he had apparently told them I was faking my personality whenever I interacted with them and shit-talked them when they weren't around as well, ironic, so I don't necessarily blame them for believing it. The only reason why his friend reached out was because my boyfriend had done the same thing in past relationships, and he was starting to get suspicious and tired of it. I confronted my boyfriend about it afterwards, and he denied everything for a while before ultimately admitting to it all. He started crying, saying he doesn't know why he's like this but that he loves me, can't live without me, anything and everything you can think of. I packed whatever I could and told him I needed time to think. I'd be staying with my brother in the meantime as I had to drive out to go to my mom's funeral and go through her things, so, for the few that asked if I had another support system, my family lives a few states away as my boyfriend and I started out long distance, and I moved away from them a couple years ago for him. The few new friends I made are away traveling for the summer, which I couldn't join in on for numerous reasons. I also couldn't get out of bed for the majority of the week so I didn't leave sooner. What he didn't know at the time was that I didn't need time to think, and I had already decided I would not be coming back. As I said in my original post, there was nothing awful worth noting about him during our relationship. He didn't treat me exceptionally well, but not terrible either. So, prior to his friend reaching out, I genuinely didn't know what to think of the situation. To me, it was out of character for him. My main thought was the news of her passing might have hurt him a lot as well and he didn't know how to handle it. But, I now know that he was an entirely different person with his friends, and what was out of character for me, was completely in character for them. It definitely scares me to think of what would have happened if I didn't post and never learned the things he was saying when I wasn't around. I also have no clue what I'd do if another life-changing event happened and he put something else above being there for me. So, to everyone that wanted an update, just know I have completely removed him from my life. No amount of tears and fake apologies will convince me otherwise. He wasn't there when I needed him and that's enough, but the lying and fake stories he'd share on top of that is terrifying. I know my mom would rip me a new one if she heard all of this and I did anything other than leave him lol. I will always be grateful for this little corner of the internet and the awful future it saved me from. I, 29F, broke up with my partner, 30M, after a surprise party. I'm looking to see how others would have reacted to this situation. For context, I've been dating my now ex for 5 months. Things were mostly smooth except the little things that were becoming consistent. He would often change, delay, and/or cancel plans last minute for a variety of reasons. He often knew things would change but didn't let me know until right before we were to meet up. He was 30 minutes late to our first date. I'm a person who really values their time and requires a bit of planning. I have been understanding, forgiving, and flexible to his ever-changing timeline. I did bring up several times that if this became consistent, it would be a problem. Then I told him that it would be a complete deal breaker if he canceled big plans. He always promised to make it up to me but never did and he never changed. Well, that time came. He was away for work for a month with minimal to no contact due to the nature of his work. We had planned to rejoice the night he came back. It started off with him saying he'd come straight to my place. Then he said he needed to drop off stuff and get clothes at his place. He lives with his family. A few minutes later he calls me to tell me he's staying to have dinner with his parents. I told him that it was upsetting because I had dinner waiting for him. His first question was to ask what it was, then he texts me to tell me he won't be long and insisted he'd come over even after I said not to worry about it right now. I'm waiting and waiting. I get a call but couldn't answer right away but received a text stating that his family had a surprise party for him and that he wasn't coming at all after all. No invite, no acknowledgement of the hurt, and a vague, non-committal plan to come over first thing tomorrow. That was it for me. I waited a whole month for him and planned several days in advance to have a nice dinner. Cleaned my apartment top to bottom, shaved, got dolled up, for nothing. I called him out and told him that it was weird his family planned a surprise party knowing we had plans and didn't even bother to invite me. He started backpedaling and saying I was invited and that he wanted to see me. I stood my ground and told him that I couldn't do this anymore. I stayed firm in my decision and had him pick up his things the next day. I wonder if I was too harsh in not having a more in-depth conversation about the issue, although my decision would have been the same. TLDR. Broke up with my BF because he was consistently flaky. He knew my boundary but decided to disrespect it. What would you have done? Was I too harsh? My boyfriend, 22M, ate all the jalapeno poppers I made before I, 21F, even got one. Tonight, I, 21F, cooked dinner for my boyfriend of almost 2 years, 22 meters, and me. I made a main dish and some jalapeno poppers as an appetizer, 8 total. I was really looking forward to them because I haven't had them in a while. We sat down to watch a movie, and I was still getting settled and hadn't started eating yet. Over about 15 minutes, he ate all 8 of the poppers. When I went to grab one, the plate was completely empty. I didn't get a single one. I asked why he didn't leave me any, and he said, "You didn't say you wanted any." I was kind of surprised because I made the whole meal for both of us, so I thought it was obvious they weren't just for him. He said I'm overreacting because they're just snacks and he was hungry. I feel annoyed because 1, I took the time to make them and 2, it didn't even occur to him to leave me one. But now I'm wondering if I'm blowing this out of proportion or if this is a sign he can be inconsiderate sometimes. Is this maybe a sign that he doesn't consider my feelings sometimes? Update. We ended up talking about it that night, and I realized he honestly wasn't trying to be rude. At first what he said sounded like him dismissing the fact that I was upset, but his reasoning actually made sense. I had made dinner for both of us, and the poppers were kind of an extra thing on the side. He thought they were just something I made for him because I know he loves them, and I did just kind of place them down on a small plate in front of him, so he didn't think twice about finishing them off. I hadn't said anything about them beforehand, so he genuinely just didn't think about it. As soon as he realized how much it hurt my feelings, he felt so bad and definitely made up for it. That night he went to the store, bought everything to make more, and gave me a whole plate before he touched any. The next day he made another batch and made sure I got first pick. For context, he's a big guy, about 6 feet 2 inches, and built like a football player, so he can put away a lot of food. He wasn't trying to be inconsiderate. He was distracted by the movie and honestly just really liked my cooking. Everything is good now and he learned his lesson, face with tears of joy.